All eyes on me.
Yo, yo.
What
Can you
up,
hear me?
y'all?
Alright.
Yeah. We hear you. We hear you. Hold on. Oh, my bad.
Let me go to the
I'm
chat
over
real
here
quick.
slipping like a bad transmission. Hey. I said
Salute
I
to
didn't
the
know.
chat.
I really didn't know what. I didn't know what song to really bring in to bring in Pac's 54th birthday, but I guess this is the one here. All
Yeah,
eyes on me.
yeah, that does it.
That works. That works.
That works
Rest
right there.
rest well to Tupac Shakur, and this is Set in the West. We are just doing something, you know, pre-birthday, born day for Tupac Shakur. You know what I'm saying? So
Yes, yes.
let's go ahead and bring it in. What's up? This is Wolfgang Amadeus, and I got Jay Mizak in the house. What's good, bro?
Zach, I'm chilling. What's good with you?
Oh man, just maintaining, doing, just chilling. Not doing too much.
I heard that.
I think let me see. I got to hear. I'm supposed to hear back from my guy Scholar. Remember the guy who came through with the when we did the review on what's that one thing called, bro? Oh, did I stop sharing it? My
You came
bad.
in with Murph, right?
No. He came in a month ago with my guy.
Mm,
I'm sorry. When we were doing the review for Sinners. I don't know if you remember
mm.
that. I don't know if you remember.
I don't really know. I see,
Well,
you know, I smoke. I be smoking, so.
you, you say, I don't remember. I ain't mad at you. That's a good excuse, though. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
no, man. Yeah, he's supposed to pull up, and we're supposed to get back out here and see what's up with these protests. But in the meantime, in between time, we just, right now, I'm just saying, happy born day to Tupac. And whether you were a fan or not, Pac was legendary, still is. You know what I'm saying? And
so, yeah.
you know, I said, yeah, let me go ahead and just do a little quick something because I kind of wanted to speak on a few things in relation to Tupac Shakur. And before his birthday, I had bumped into his brother the other day. I'm gonna play a little bit of an interview and talk about what we talked about. But his brother Mo Preme, shout out to Mo Preme. Mo Preme got a book he's dropping in February called This Thug's Life. I can't wait. I'm definitely gonna
Salute.
get it. And me and Mo Preme, he's cool, man. So shout out to him, shout out to his team. And then I know you were already doing something on Pac anyway, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be given about an hour. Should be premiering.
Okay. Oh, it's premiering.
Yeah,
It's premiering in an
yeah,
hour.
yeah.
Okay, so y'all got to put let me put the banner up. Let me put your channel up because we got to make sure everybody go and support. And hold on, what's
Yeah,
your
check
channel,
that
bro?
out.
I don't even know if I got your channel thing in one of the banners, but nonetheless, we'll get it together. Yeah, what's the channel? Just
You
give
just
out
go
the
to
channel name, Jay Mizak,
Jay
right?
Mizak. That's JayMizzac.
Indeed, JayMizzac. So
That's
in
right.
about an hour, because we ain't gonna be here too long. Y'all definitely go on over there and check out the Tupac video that you're premiering. And
Yes.
you said you weren't even aware that it was his birthday. That's crazy.
Nah.
Yeah, man. That's what's up. That's how the universe works. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's what's
I
up.
didn't know until you told me.
Yeah, man. Hold on, let me pull this up. Because in fact, before I even get on with this interview, shout out to Mo Preme again, like I said. I had spoke with his manager, and she was giving me some insight. And this is the reason why I want to talk about this Alex Spiro role with the Pac legacy in the Shakur family. And I'm gonna brush up on the things, even touching the topic of Courtney Burgess. You remember Courtney Burgess, right? That clown, that guy. Look,
the year.
Yeah. So me and Pac's other brother Ty, we were chopping it up, and I was giving him some game, just talking to him in general about, hey man, this Courtney Burgess guy, yada yada yada. Long story short, we were all on the same page, and they ended up getting all that Courtney Burgess plagiarized content off of the internet. I know there was one site that they were because he, okay, so if you guys don't know, Matulu Shakur, who was Tupac's father, stepfather, right? He's a prolific author himself. He wrote a few books, and what basically they're fictional stories. And one story that he had wrote was God, what's the name of the book? I'm so sorry, I just don't have it at the top of my head right now. But he wrote a book. Essentially,
I know what you're talking about too.
Yeah. He wrote a book essentially, like speaking on Tupac. If Tupac was to have lived on, and if he was to lead a revolution, and how it would have went out, and the Tupac had a different name. He basically changed his name in the book. Well, let me give you the backstory about the whole Courtney Burgess connection. Courtney basically stole that book that Matulu Shakur wrote, and plagiarized it and ran it off like he was the one that wrote it, or he had permission to write it. When I had spoke to Mo Preme and his reps, they basically were like, Courtney Burgess basically had some female go off and steal the book, the physical book, because this was back when there were no PDFs or nothing like that, no digital copies. They were physical books. He had some female go and steal it from the family. He retrieved it, and he came with some fake documentation saying he had legal representation to do X, Y, and Z, to publish it, which was all false. So he, and just that story that he was able to sell, that guy should give you a little bit of more insight of the mindset of a person like him, and him claiming to have Kim Porter's memoir.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother story too, but that's tying in.
Yeah.
And that's tying in Chris Todd and all those other clowns, Ariel Mitchell as well, right? And the cool part about the Chris Todd connection, the name of the main character, Jamal Millwood, T. Millwood, was the author of the quote unquote Kim Porter memoirs.
Stole it from.
Yeah. So just talking to the reps and everybody, I just was like, this guy was a sycophant, was deranged in his thinking, and made it seem as if he had credibility to even say, align himself with Tupac, just because he was tied in with the Fatal Hussein album. And I don't even think he really produced anything. He just was somewhat kind of tied in. But yeah, man. Right. So what's your thoughts on that, man?
I think he's definitely got some mental issues, claiming that you Pac's best friend and shit. That's what he said, right?
Right.
Yeah. Man, I ain't never seen him in no footage with Pac. I ain't never heard of him before this whole, Diddy case.
I don't even think Pac has ever said the word Courtney, ever.
Right.
But yeah, you know,
No,
I don't want to give him too much light, but I did ask about that in that situation because I was following up. I was talking to Ty about 7 months ago, 8 months ago, and they were giving me some insight. And I found it interesting because that's why I'm talking about Alex Spiro. Alex Spiro is a high-profile defense attorney at Quinn Emanuel, and he represents Elon Musk, Alec Baldwin, Jay-Z. In Spiro's role, he has been retained by the Shakur family retained him as an attorney and his investigative team to reopen and scrutinize the investigation into the Tupac 1996 unalivement. I find that to be like somewhat of a conflict of interest. You understand what I'm saying?
right.
Because now we got this whole situation with Puffy, which we'll talk about in detail a little bit, but I kind of wanted to just brush on that because I asked him about that as well. The rep was pretty, like, had good things to say about Spiro, and I was like, this is interesting. Sounds very, I don't know, it just raised my antennas a little bit.
Right.
But anyway, man, yeah, y'all, this video is basically just honoring the legacy of Tupac. And we're talking about a little bit of Mo Preme's book and Spiro's investigation into the unalivement of Tupac. We're not going to get too deep and go too long. And then again, you know, what's next for the Shakur family? So, you know, this will be Tupac's 54th birthday, right? He was born in 71. And yeah, we're about, is that 54, right? 54 years away from it's 2025 now, right?
Yeah, we in 25. Yeah.
Yeah. So Tupac being the legacy, the okay, I'm hearing something in the background. I guess that
he's a legend.
yeah, he's a legend. He's a legend. No, I was hearing something in the background that kind of threw me off. But no, he's a legend, bro. And think about this, man. Jay Mizak, how many artists? Let's just throw out some artists who would probably not be around if Tupac would have stayed, and Biggie if they were both alive. Who wouldn't be around?
None of these motherfuckers would be around, yo. To be honest, none. Like, I couldn't see no Drakes, none. None. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
None
Yeah,
of
Patricia Blair, his brother is older. His brother is the older brother. I'm gonna give you a little bit backstory about their little rivalry, or whatever. But yeah, there would be no. I'm gonna name a few. Like when Pac passed, I'm not talking about current. I'm talking about right when Pac passed. Right then is when Ja Rule came out. Who else we had? DMX. He came out. Kind of like
yeah, everybody called Ja Rule the fake DMX.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then I mean, let me see who else. I mean, Jay-Z kind of shot out and did what he did. He shot up because he was around the same time Pac came out, but he wasn't really as prevalent. And then when Pac dropped and kind of mentioned his name, because he did mention his name, he mentioned Jay-Z's name. Long story short, Ja Rule definitely wouldn't be here. Ja Rule would not be here because Ja Rule basically took on the costume of Pac and came out with, you know, holla holla and all that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
You think DMX would have been made an impact like he did, or you know?
I think he would have. I think Pac would have liked DMX. I think they would have got along.
I think so too. I believe so as well.
Same type of, you know.
Yeah.
Same type of essence.
Yeah. They would have been like, you know, would have been like a brother, you know, It would have been like a brother thing, you know.
Real. They were real.
Yep.
You know. Yeah. Can't say the same for the others.
Yeah. You know what, the mother cats, man. I don't know. And I'm gonna just speak from experience because, you know, I like Pac. I wasn't necessarily the biggest Pac fan, but I like Pac. I wasn't the biggest Biggie fan, but I like Biggie. And then, you know, when they passed, it was like, oh man, you realize what we had lost in hip hop. But after them, I would give it up to Big Pun. Big Pun kind of came out, and Pun was, I mean, he represented New York, and he was nice. Pun was nice. I'm trying to think who else is prominent. Yeah. But one of my favorite MCs that came out of New York after Pac would have been Big Pun. Now, Pac, essentially, you know Pac, what Pac's original name was going to be?
His original name?
Yeah, what he was going to come out as with a different name. He wasn't going to be Tupac.
I think I forget his homeboy's name. What's the dude that put him on that group?
You talking about Shock G? Digital Underground?
Shock G. Yeah, when he was supposed to come out in a group, I believe, or
well, he started out. I think he started out as a roadie with Digital Underground, and then he got his premiere with Same Song. That song, Same Song, that was like, it was big on that one. What was that one movie? It was a really big movie that came out in the 90s, and it was on that soundtrack. But that's how he kind of came to prominence in 91. I remember when that song first came out, and I swear to God, I was playing over there off of Hyde Park and Crenshaw, West Boulevard, that area. I was a youngster, and they played that song, I swear, 30 times in a row. And Pac's verse was everything on that song. Now, the connection between Mo Preme and Pac. Mo Preme dropped a verse on Tony's Feel Good. You ever heard that song, It Feels Good by Tony?
It feels good.
You know that Mo Sadie's the mellow, Final Night's fellow, Mac 3T, I could rhyme, acapella. That's Mo Preme. That's Tupac's brother.
Yeah. That's Pac's bro?
Yeah, that was Pac's brother. That's Mo Preme. That's who I'm in the picture with. That's Mo Preme. When I first interviewed him, when I first met him, when I first met him, I ran up on him about that. I was like, yeah, I heard you and Pac had a beef for like a good year or so because you was the big star in the family when you came out with that song with Tony, It Feels Good. And he was like, yeah, Pac was like, ooh, I gotta get on.
Yeah.
But they had a little rivalry because of that. It wasn't nothing crazy. It was just like, oh. But that song, It Feels Good, was big. And then Mo Preme dropping that verse on it, that made him like, woo, he was the family star. And then sometime later, you had Same Song and Tupac rhyming with Digital Underground, and everybody was like, yo, yeah. Little backstory. But yeah, Mo Preme was like, yeah, man. And when after that, that was it. That was it for Pac.
Yeah, but Pac is a poet too, right?
Yep. Straight poet.
You know, he knows how to put the words together.
Oh man, yeah. Pac used to read the newspaper, like every major news article and every major news publication. He would read it every day because he needed to just be up on his, current events. And then he would also study every song that's, top 10 Billboard. And he was a studier. He studied, and that's why he stayed in the studio, and that's why he was on it, and that's why he had so many hits, because he knew what it was to make a hit. But peep game, Shadow Jackson, do you know that Pac's original name was supposed to be MC New York?
MC New York? Wait, he ain't from New York.
He was born in New York. Or Baltimore, right? I think, no, well, I know he spent time in Baltimore. I think he's from New York. Yeah. His His mom was in jail in, I believe, was it Brooklyn? Before he was born. Yeah, he's from New York. Yeah.
Okay.
Imagine if he would have came with that name, MC New York, and that would have stuck. Imagine if he was like, okay, I'm gonna be MC New York. He wouldn't have been able to come and do California Love.
Right, MC New York.
He couldn't have did the Bay Area, and he couldn't have been West Side. He couldn't have got.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, his name was he was going to call himself MC New York. And I'm glad you mentioned Shock G, because I think Shock G convinced him and said, nah, don't do that, bro. Don't call yourself MC New York.
New York.
How would that have worked with Tupac Shakur?
He would have, and he ain't gonna change his name after that. So nah, it wouldn't have worked, yo.
It wouldn't have worked. Just like Death Row. Death Row was supposed to have been called Future Shock.
Future Shock.
That was supposed to have been the name of the label, Future Shock. I cannot hear that. That sounds so dated. Even then,
sure, called Future Shock.
A label called Future Shock.
Future Shock.
That was supposed to have been the name of Death Row.
That's crazy.
Yeah, man. So just, in the alternate universe, you had MC New York signed to Future Shock Records. Man. That wouldn't have went right for an East Coast West Coast rivalry. I don't know. Hit a one in the chat if y'all never heard of that about MC New York and Future Shock. And put a 2 if you heard it, if you've ever heard that. Okay. All right. So yeah. So Ms. Ack, so what you got to say? What do you want to contribute? Because I know we what we're gonna do is about 20 minutes we're gonna dip off onto your channel. I want to check out your premiere of your Pac video.
Yeah. I ain't really got too much to say other than rest in power to the king. You know, he is the pioneer. He's of the gangster music. Well, actually, nah, I can't say that because but I mean from my generation.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's, the NWA,
Yeah, we got Ice-T before him. Yeah,
there's Ice-T.
Got the Parkside Killers. We have PSK. Yeah,
but he made the most impact for me.
Yeah,
and and the most impressionable. So he's definitely a legend. And we miss that man,
Yeah, man, that's what's up. So allegedly, let me get into this Alex Spiro or Alex Spiro info, whatever. Hold on, let me bring down this beat, or let me actually just switch it up real quick because I'm sorry, y'all. I'll get sick of a beat in a quick minute. All right. Okay. So here we are with this Alex Spiro situation, right? For those who don't know, Alex Spiro, again, he's a defense attorney at Quinn Emanuel, and he's known for representing Jay-Z, Elon Musk, Alec Baldwin, amongst others right now. Tupac Shakur's family, they retained Alex Spiro and his investigative team to reopen and look into the investigation into Pac's unalignment in 1996. The problem that we have there is the Jay-Z connection. But that's just that's just me looking from the outside in. Spiro and his team are focused on potential connections between Puffy, Sean Diddy Combs, and Pac's death. Not a criminal prosecution, but an independent civil investigation. That don't even sound right. In a nutshell, Tupac's estate and his surviving family members, they're just basically looking to find out more information, review evidence, review witnesses, examine the Diddy links, building a potential legal or public case by uncovering new and overlooked facts. They say, it matters because Spiro's involvement signals a serious, high-stakes investigation, given his reputation for handling celebrity-led and celebrity-related high-profile legal matters. His hiring reflects the family's intention to bring a professional scrutiny and potential public accountability into the case that has remained open since 1996. But the problem I have is, again, it's like for play. It's not even a serious investigation. It's like if it's serious, there's criminal. It's a criminal element, and it's just civil. Civil is just money or live. Yeah. And the ties to Diddy, because of all the stuff that Diddy's going through. It's like you're just piling on to Diddy, and now we got new witness statements and whatever and all that, and this legal move. This is the first serious legal move done by Tupac's estate in a few decades, right? But overall, it's really just I'm not really feeling it. It's kind of like, and I spoke to the rep, the manager of Mo Preme when I sat down with them, and I just was like, I don't think this is a good move. I like, y'all need to leave Spiro alone, because I asked some personal stuff. They contacted. Well, I ain't gonna say who contacted me. I'll just say I just gave them some insight and was just like, yeah. Anyway.
When did they file for this?
This had to have been about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I believe.
Shit, eh?
Yeah. So I just don't think it's
quietly under the radar.
Right. Yeah, I just don't think it's really gonna amount to anything, in my opinion.
Exactly.
That's it. That's all. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this interview, a piece of the interview that Mo Preme did at KBLA. Shout out to everybody over at KBLA. Mo Preme sat down and spoke with Tavis Smiley, and in the end, it was a connection, because Mo Preme's new book is called This Thug's Life. I think Dr. Cornel West is going to write a blurb in the book, or maybe the forward. I don't know, but Cornel West had connections to Afeni Shakur and and Pac and all that, whatever. So yeah, it was definitely a interesting conversation, and it's pretty dope to be in the room with someone like that. So let me go ahead and run this real quick, and we'll be up out of here. All right.
Mo Preme Shakur in studio with us right now. I was just saying to Mo Preme, and I want to share with you now. I mentioned earlier that I had the honor of interviewing Afeni a few times in my career, and I've just been blessed to talk to everybody who's anybody over the course of these 30 plus years of doing what I do. So I got connected to Tupac through his mother, his precious mother, when I had a chance to meet and sit with her, I should say, for a number of conversations. But I am perennially connected to Tupac, and here's why. For those who have followed my career from the very beginning, you know this story well. If you caught up later, you might not know this story. So BET calls me. I'm going to tell a story very quickly and get to Mo Preme, but I want him to understand this connection to Pac. So BET calls me years ago and says to me, we're thinking about starting a late night show, a talk show. We don't know who we want to host it, but we have a list of talent, and we would like to have them come in for a week at a time to guest host this show, and after which we will make a decision. Long story short, Mo Preme, they had a long list of folk. Me, Latifah was on the list, Snoop was on the list, all kinds of people. It's BET. Right. Why I'm on the list, I don't even know. But I get a call from BET. I tell them no 3 times, because I don't want to be a part of something you ain't really figured out what you want to do. I ain't that Negro to come try out for a week. If you want me, you want me. If you don't, you don't. So I told them no 3 times. Told them no twice. On the 3rd time, my agent said to me, Tavis, just go do it for a week. We'll get you get some great content out of it. It's a free trip to Washington, D.C. Go see your friends. Just do it for a week. Long story short, I agreed to do it. BET calls back and says, will Tavis go the first week? We got people that want to do it. Nobody wants to go the first week. My motto is, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready, Mo Preme.
Right on.
So I said, I ain't got a problem. I'll come do it the first week. I flew to D.C. I did it for 1 week. I ain't got time to tell the whole story. The rest is history. Nobody else got a shot at it. I went at it that first week. And I ended up having that show for 5 years, and that's what started my national television career, because I wasn't afraid to go the first week. But here's the point of the story. On the very first night of me hosting my new show, my scheduled guest was Whitney Houston on a Monday night. 3 days prior, on Friday, September the 13th, you know where I'm going, Tupac died in Las Vegas. He'd been in that hospital, but he died on Friday the 13th. On Friday, I get a call from BET, you're starting on Monday, Tupac has just died. We cannot do Whitney Houston on Monday night. We got to go with Tupac. So the very first night of my long-standing now television career, my very first show on national TV was talking about the murder of Tupac. And it just so happens also that September 13th is my birthday.
What?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So Pac dies on my birthday, and the very first night of my national television career that I'm now 30 plus years into starts with me talking about the death of Pac. So when I tell you I'm connected to Pac,
yeah, I get it.
You get it, right?
I get it.
That's why that's why it matters to me. Now, tell you about
Pac is spooky like that.
Yeah, he's spooky like
that. Word up.
So that's my story. Tell me, obviously, about your connection to Pac. Yeah.
My connection.
Yeah.
Well, it's a lot. It's not the typical story. My father is Dr. Mutulu Shakur.
That's right.
And
God rest his soul, passed away in 2023, as I recall.
Right.
Yeah.
And his wife was Afeni Shakur. My father had me when he was 17. So my mother and he were high school sweethearts. Mutulu moved on. My mother sent me down south for a while because she was a young, she was still in school. Sure. But when I came back, I lived with Mutulu and Afeni and Pac. It was just us uptown, living uptown in Harlem.
Yeah.
And when I came back from the south, my father was, put me up on everything. He's like, that's your brother. Hold your brother's hand.
Yeah.
And that's how, okay. and then he would walk us to school. Pac on one side, me on the other side, for a while. And then I went back to my mom's eventually and, back and forth until Mutulu went underground.
Yeah. Tell me, I'm trying to manage the little time I have with you.
Yes, sir.
How would you define, Mo Preme, how would you define and describe your relationship with Pac?
Okay. Well, we just jumped into it. First, can I say peace and blessings to all your listeners?
You certainly can.
Everybody around the nation, worldwide, internationally, know Mo Preme Shakur, Thug Life Outlaw, Immortal. Okay.
I love it.
Now, me and
my man.
Me and the young Machiavelli. We see the difference is we had times together as kids, as like he was 2 and I was like 6.
Yeah.
So we did the cool kid stuff, racing and fighting karate and just running around the hood. But then because my mother wasn't with Mutulu, I would
go back and
get
forth.
my time with Mutulu, then go back to my mom's in Queens and back and forth. It was like that. After we lived together consistently for like 2 years, I was enrolled in school as Mutulu Shakur. It's been a trip. But then, in the early 80s, my dear old dad appeared on FBI's 10 Most Wanted list and went underground. So during that period, Pac and I were separated. It was altogether like 8-9 years. We were separated between Mutulu being on the run, family not being in contact, him going to trial, all the things. But in the late 80s, we were finally able to reconnect. Mutulu had been captured, and Pac and I finally got to be together again after 8-9 years. And my sister set you up. You know, so we were all getting reconnected at that time in the Bay Area.
What was that reunion like? Did you pick up right where you left off, or did you have to re-ingratiate yourself to each other?
I was so excited. We did have to re-ingratiate ourselves to each other because it had been so long. We were kids, and when Pac and I were together, my sister wasn't even born yet. Setua. So this was one point where all three of us were able to be together, get reconnected in this preteen stage, and I was in my early 20s. I just got out the military, went straight to the Bay. We connected, you know. But I had, before I connected with them, I had done some music up there, and I had recorded Feels Good with Tony. Shout out to Tony.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was excited to tell them about that. I wanted, they my family. I wanted to be proud of me. You know what I mean? I was trying to, so by the time we reconnect, I'm going to have this, you know. And Faye contacted me and told me to come over for Thanksgiving. And from that point on, we were connected and together.
More
the last days.
Yeah, it's the last days. More.
All right. So that was a little piece of the interview. All right, y'all. Y'all hear me? Hello. All right.
Yeah.
That was a piece of the interview. You can hear the rest of it. All you got to do is go over to KBLA 1580, and you'll see it. It was last Thursday. Mo Preme was sitting with Tavis Smiley. Shout out to Tavis Smiley. Shout out to everybody at KBLA. You can hear the rest of the interview there. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the book because he's going to get more in depth about his life and all that. So, you know, like I said, it's very interesting. So yeah, shout out to Mo Preme.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Tupac. Jay Mizak.
Yeah.
You got your video ready?
I think it's going to be, let me check. Another, hold on. This is the wrong one. Hold on, this can't be right. It's saying 14%.
Uh-oh.
You know YouTube.
Yeah. Oh no,
uploading
YouTube.
14%. So I don't know if this is the the after the uploading.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, regardless to what.
Yeah.
Regardless to what. No, what I'm saying is, regardless to what, everybody get over to Jay Mizak's page, subscribe, put the notification bell on so that y'all can see when it does drop, because I want to check it out. And yeah, man, I may have to hook you up when I get with Mo Preme when it's time for his book to drop. We're gonna have to get you in contact so maybe we could do a lightweight interview. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, y'all. Indeed. So we just want to say rest in peace, happy born day to Pac. And I know it's a day early because he was born June 16th. We're a day ahead though. So it's June 16th over there where Archangel Michael is. So in Australia or New Zealand. So yeah.
Yeah, and Nick.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, well, we up out of here though. It ain't much to do, ain't much to say. I'm just about to finish with this edit. Oh man, wait till y'all see this. Well, tap in. You already know I'm working on some stuff. It's looking real. Man, crazy. All right, family. Salute.
Salute.
We up out of here, y'all. Let me go ahead and get this outro out. All right, here we go. Peace.
Peace.
Wolfgang, where you at, man?